Welcome back once again. In this video, I'll give you a complete roadmap to become a Solidity smart contract developer. That what are the things you have to learn, what are the chapters we have included in the entire roadmap which you can follow, including with the proper module which you can implement in the real world projects. You can easily able to write 100% gas optimized contract, secure patent, testing and deployment. So here you will find that this is the complete roadmap I have divided this entire roadmap in 8 phases. In each phase, we're going to focus in one stage and what are the topics you have to cover. Then you're going to move to the different stage. And after completing all of this stage, we're going to learn and build project. Because if you build project, then you're going to apply those things, those tools, those models, those architecture, which we're going to learn in the contract in the development part. So this is the entire roadmap for the Solidity Smart Contract Developer. Here, as the name suggests, I have highlighted the title Solidity Developer Roadmap. These are the 5 things we're going to focus heavily. First, we're going to focus about the smart contract, in which we're going to understand that how you can write this smart contract. After that, we're going to focus on the gas optimization, because writing a code is one thing, but optimizing for the actual blockchain where you're going to save the money for the transactions, have more data in the event, in the log, that is another thing. Then we're going to focus on the security pattern, where we're going to focus on the security models we have, that how you can design a custom error model which will help you to save gas as well as providing a better security model like re-entrancy, overflow, underflow, tons of things we're going to understand. Then we're going to understand about the testing, that how you're going to test this entire contract in the local environment, and what are the networks we have where we can deploy and do the testing like unit testing, tool testing. And after that, we're going to focus on the deployment part as well. And as you all know that we have multiple Solidity version, but we're going to focus all the version above 0.8, because this one is really powerful and there is a lot of update happen in the programming language itself. Here you will have the progress bar which you can able to track that what you know and what are things you will have. Anyway, I'm going to provide this particular link in the description, so you can simply click and you can easily able to track down the entire Solidity roadmap, that what you know and what are things you have to know. Check this particular bootcamp which I have. You can come back to the blockchain coder. Here you will find that this is the complete blockchain course which I have launched. It has 80+ hour content. You're going to master environment setup. You're going to learn about the Solidity programming language with all the testing, all the variables explanation. You're going to learn about the crash courses on the important technology which you have to know to build the front end. All of that. You're going to learn about the security and optimization, which is one of the most important thing, where you're going to do the security optimization in the front end validation. Then you're going to move to the smart contract, learn about how you can build an API which you can implement into any application, whether it's the web 3 or web 2. So it's a huge course. It has a 80-hour plus content, so you can simply have a look. If you give your 2 to 3 months, you will be mastered completely. So here you will have the entire pathway, and I have also given the time framework, that how much time you have to invest. And after that, when you start implementing this entire tools, entire models we have in the roadmap in the actual project, which I'm going to show you that what project you have to start with, in that you will learn even more. So in the first phase, you have to learn about the Solidity basic. So there are a couple of topics which you have to cover. You have to understand the Solidity syntax. You have to understand about the statement version. You have to understand about the smart contract declaration and the layout which we follow. You have to understand about the variable and state variable, that what is the difference between the variables we have in the contract, how we can take in the memory. Those are the things we have to understand. Then we have to understand about the function and modifier. Some of you get confused between the function and the modifier, that why we build modifier, because it saves us for reusable code and we can implement for certain check which we want to implement in the contract. Then you have to understand the event. Then you have to understand about the practices, comment and documentation, because that one is very important. When you go to write the smart contract, you're going to build the documentation. You're going to give the proper model architecture, that why you have implemented this particular variable, this particular logic. Then you have to understand about the import statement and dependency, that how you can use it. We have multiple dependency as of now. At the moment, we have open zipling, we have upgradable, we have ERC20 token, we have NFT interface, tons of framework we have which we can include it. Then in the second phase, you have to understand about the data type. This one is very important, which will help you to save a lot of your time. And once you will master this, because obviously you're going to store the data in the contract, so you have to master the variables like boolean, unt, addresses. You have to understand about the reference type, data types like array, structure, mapping. You have to understand about the strings, bytes manipulation. You have to understand about the enum declaration. You have to understand about the constant and immutable, that why we use it and how it's going to save gas when we'll deploy the contract, and when you will have a variable with these particular model. Then you have to understand about the variable scope of lifetime. Then you have to understand about the default value or initialization. Then you have to master about the type conversion and casting. This one is a really different architecture, different model we have in the smart contract, which we utilize based on the application we develop. So this is going to be your second phase. Again, you have to spend only 2 weeks. If you give 3 to 4 hours every single day, you can easily able to cover this one with an example. After that, you have to go with the function and control flow. This one is a very important section where you have to implement, like we will declare the variable, that how you're going to utilize it in the function. So we have the master function declaration and parameter, understanding function visibility. So there are multiple type of visibility we have. We have public, private, internal, external, what it stands for. If you declare a variable with a public phase, you're going to get a function. You can also make it private, internal. Those are things you have to keep in mind. Then we have the function modifier and their implementation, that how you're going to attach the modifier on the function and how it's going to execute. If you want to do sudden check in the modifier, then how you're going to continue with that particular function and pass it to the next one. Then you have to understand about the return values and multiple return. You can return a string, you can return a UNT variable, you can return a array, you can return a boolean. Those are things you have to understand. Then you have to understand about if else state. When you're going to do sudden check for the conditioning, like you want to check the balance, you want to check the ownership, you want to check the verification, those are the things you can do in the if else statement. Then you have to understand about the loops. We do have loops in the Solidity programming language as well. So you have to understand about the loops like for, while, and do while loop. Then you have to understand about the required assets and revert statement. This one is very important if you really want to tackle with the error, and each keyword has a different optimization which you have to implement if you really want to do the gas optimized smart contract. Then you have to learn about the function overloading, what it is, how it's going to work. So these are the things which you have to know, and these are the most important things which you're going to implement exactly when you go to start building the project. Each one of the things you're going to implement when you will start working on the project. After that, you have to focus on the advanced data structure, and this will mainly comes in this optimization part of the a smart contract. So you have to understand about dynamic and fixed size array. So when you will take the dynamic array, it's going to cost you a little higher, but when you go with fixed size, you can optimize that to save the gas consumption. You can also focus on the nested array and multi-dimensional array. You can learn about mapping and nested mapping. You can learn about the struct definition and use cases. You can have to know about the array manipulation method. You have to know about the storage and memory and call data, that how you can utilize it in the function. Sometimes you have noticed that you have declared a call data, you have declared a storage or memory. Why we declare it, what is the reason, and why it plays a very vital role in the optimization and the data structure. Then you have to understand about the byte array and string manipulation. Then you have to master iteration over mapping and array. So these are the few advanced topics which you have to know if you really want to master the data structure. After that, you have to go to the fifth phase of the roadmap, in which you have to focus on the integration. So you have to know how you can simply call the constructor. If you want to receive any argument, you can do that at the time of deployment. You can also learn about the contract inheritance and overriding. You have to understand, you have to learn about the interfaces, definitions, and implementation, master abstraction, contract and virtual function, practice with the contract to contract call. So how you're going to call one contract to another to fetch the data and execute the function. Then you have to also understand about the delegated calls and its use case, learn about the libraries and their use case, that how you can use the library, how you're going to inherit those library in the contract without writing your own contract, because not all the time you're going to write every single thing contract from scratch. You have to use the contract which is already there and inherit the property and simply launch it. You have to understand the deployment and initialization, that how you can initialize the contract, how you're going to interact with a different contract, or you can build a system which allows us to deploy multiple contract. So those are the things. Now comes the sixth phase, which is the error handling and security. This one is a really important topic, and I believe that after this boom in the AI field, tons of contract will be generated with the help of AI, but most of the developer who are going to spend huge amount of time in the security and error handling. This one is going to be a big industry in the future. So you have to understand about the required statement and input validation, that how you can validate a data, whether the user putting the address, it's a valid address or not. How are you going to make the differentiate between the user address and the contract address? You have to understand about the required method and a certain method for handling the error. You have to understand that how you can manage and write a custom error component, custom error model. You have to understand about this try and catch block we have. You have to understand about the re-entrancy attack and how you can prevent that, because this one is a very important protection which you have to have in your contract. Then you have to understand about the overflow and underflow. Then you have to learn about the access control pattern. You have to learn about the security vulnerability and prevention. So all the hacks were happened in the past, you have to learn about it. Then you're going to have in your memory, and when you're going to write your smart contract, you're going to implement those logic. So this is the sixth phase. After that, you have to focus on the two more phases, which is the smart contract optimization and testing and deployment. Here you're going to spend a lot of time where you're going to optimize each one of these function for gas efficiency. So you have to understand about the gas cost and optimization strategy. So there are multiple strategies which you can implement, like tweaking the variables, updating the variable in the contract, optimization in the structure of the data which you are implementing. So that's the thing which you have to focus. You have to understand about the storage and memory and how it's going to cost when it's come to making the transaction. You have to understand about the data and packing technique. You have to understand about the loop optimization, because when you will have a function which has a loop and you are running a loop on an array or any kind of function that consume more gas, how are you going to optimize that? You have to also now understand about the function optimization, that how you can optimize it. Then you have to understand about the storage slot. You have to understand about the batch operation and gas efficiency. You have to understand about the assembly basic for optimization. So assembly is quite complex, and if you're absolute beginner, I would not suggest you to focus on this, because this, but when you're going to include the assembly, it's going to save you a lot of gas, lot of money for the transaction. So this one is the advanced one. I would suggest you just skip this one as of now. Okay, now come back to the deployment. So in the deployment, you have to focus on the unit testing, which is the most common one which you're going to do after writing the contract. After that, you have to understand about the integration strategy and testing, that how you're going to integrate with the DApp and you're going to do the testing. And you have to understand about the test driven deployment for the smart contract. Means you can pick any test network, you can do even the local host, and you can do all the testing. You have to understand about the mock contract and testing units. You have to understand about the deployment script and migration, that how you can build a script, because when you want to pass any argument, you can do that. There are multiple libraries which you can use for deployment, but if you have a good understanding about the frameworks like Hardhat, it's a really powerful tool, fantastic tool which you can use for deployment and testing. Then you have to understand about the network configuration, that how you can do configuration for the network. You have to understand about the contract verification and transparency, and why it's important in the blockchain to gain trust about your project. Then you have to understand about the debugging and technique and tools. So this is the 8 phases in which we have discussed all the important things which you have to learn in details about each one of this topic. Once you will follow this particular strategy, it will help you to give you the complete understanding about the programming language and what are things you have to learn. Now, once you master the programming language, it will take you like almost 2 months. If you give your dedicated time, you can easily be able to master. So once you're done with the programming language, after that, the most important work you have to do is to build this 6th project. This 6th project which I have designed is absolutely beginner friendly, and you can easily be able to follow, in which you will learn all the technology which you have to know as a blockchain developer. So first you have to learn about the ERC20 token, that what it is, how it's work, what are the model we have, because right now all the fund, all the cryptography which you will find, all the billions of dollars in liquidity you will find, that's all we have in the token. So you have to come here and you have to build this particular project. It's a 7 hours project. Make sure to build it. What are things you're going to learn? That's all you will find. That's all you find. So this is the project which you have to build. After that, you have to build about the voting system. This will help you to understand that how you can build the complex architecture for the organization based system. So learn about this voting system. After that, you have to build the auction. So this one is a crowdfunding platform where you can allow user to create the campaign and raise the capital for their project. So this one is a really perfect project for you. After that, you have to build the NFT marketplace. So NFT is really powerful. You can include it in different business model. So it will help you to understand about that ERC 721 interface, and you can also create a batch one. So that's all the things which you will learn. So make sure to follow this, and you will learn all the important technology which you have to know, like royalty, IPFS integration, marketplace logic, and the token interface. That's what we have. After that, you have to learn about the DeFi protocol. This will help you to give you the understanding that how swap of the token happen, how liquidity happen, how you can create the liquidity, how you can allow the user to swap the token and get the token. So this project is really important for you to develop. After that, you have to build the DAO governance. It's a chat application which help you to understand the complexity which you can build in the contract and try to automate the entire things. So this one is a really powerful project. So this is the 6th project which you have to include in your portfolio as soon as you complete the entire roadmap for this Solidity programming language. Once you master this Solidity programming language, then you have to start building this 6th project. Even if you learn only 40% of the programming language, I would suggest you to build project, because the rest of the thing you're going to include when you will start building the logic. If you want to check the resources, so here I have the resources for all of you. You can check the official documentation, you can check the blockchain coder. There you will find multiple project and multiple resources which you need to have. You can also check the remix ID. There you will find the details and the articles and the smart contract which you can have a look. You can also check the Ethernet, which allow you to give you some testing of the contract. You can check the OpenZip link, which help you to analyze different type of contract and its modules. That will help you, and you can use this library in your contract. And you can also check the Hardhat. It's a really powerful framework which allow you to do the testing, uploadment and configuration for the network. So this is a complete roadmap for you if you really want to master Solidity and become a Solidity developer in 2025 or 2026. This one is really important, and this is what exactly you have to follow. Once you give your 3 to 4 month, follow the programming language, build this 6 project. If you build this 6 project, you will be 100% ready to become a blockchain developer. You will be 100% ready to become a blockchain developer, and you can build any project. You can build any project. So I hope you have got an understanding that what exactly you have to learn, how you have to learn, and what are the topics you have to focus. If you really want to master with all the things which I have mentioned, then you can in Solidity smart contract development, and you are ready to become a blockchain developer. So I hope you have got the idea that what you have to learn, how you have to learn, and what strategy you have to follow. So with that, I'm ending this. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.